welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming back and spending a few minutes here on on the channel. This is Jack with Straight Talk with Jack, and we're going to do another video here today for you. Thank you for being here. There's a lot of people doing these kind of things, and I appreciate your time that you took or are taking to watch the video here. If you do like what you see, please subscribe and like and do all that kind of stuff. It does help things out. Got a lot to cover today, so I'm gonna get right into things. I want to start first with Waltz for Debby by Bill Evans. There's been a multitude of really great reviews, one of which went up today by Anthony on Audiophilia. I'm going to link that below. A great review, and I believe Scott from the Pressing Matters did one too. I'll put that up. There's been a whole lot of them, and I'm going to stay away from the details, other than to say that you know, out of the biggest section of recordings back here, over there, too many places. I think Bill Evans probably takes up as big, if not bigger than any one artist. Needless to say, you know, Bill Evans was a monster in this business, and continues to be today. Thankfully, we have a lot of great reissues that have come out, and recently we've had another. And by now, most of you know the UHQR of Waltz for Debby and Sunday at the Village Vanguard. I'm going to order the Sunday at the Village Vanguard. I haven't done that yet. I did order, obviously, Waltz for Debby. I do have a few versions of Sunday at the Village Vanguard. Great record, and I'm excited to hear it on the UHQR. Frankly, I was a little skeptical in the beginning to see what the difference was going to be between my craft reissue that was done. This is an unsealed one. I've got an open one. I bought two of these because I know I'll wear the other one out if I manage to hang around that long. But so I bought two just to have the other one unsealed. This is a great recording and a great mastering of the original that I thought the OJC was good when it came out in the mid 80s. This is really good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say this is about an 8.5 to a 9. The UHQR, without question, is 10. Everybody else has said the same thing, so I'm gonna leave that. Leave that alone. The packaging's great. You know, you've been probably seeing it too many times, so I'm going to leave that alone. What I do want to talk about, though, a little bit is I've heard a lot of folks, you know, not just recently, but over the past number of years, talking about how this recording sounds just like the venue. Sounds like you're there. I have to tell you, I've seen Bill Evans quite a few times in the Vanguard with his trio. Actually saw him once with a bigger group there as well, but mainly with his various trios. And I've also seen some very big groups there. I've seen Mingus there. I saw the Mellow's Thad Jones Orchestra there many times. 16, 17 piece band in the Village Vanguard. For those of you who've not been there, it's a very low ceiling. It's good acoustical room, very good room. But a lot of factors go into that. So when you say that, boy, this sounds just like the room. Well, first of all, I hope when you say that, you've been to the room. And even if you have, I have to tell you that as good as some of these recordings are, and the Bill Evans one at the Sunday at the Village Vanguard is exceptional. It's exceptional recording, live recording. We're going to talk about another live recording in a minute, but it's exceptional. But you know, I can't imagine how it would sound the same as being there. So many factors go into that. First of all, where you sit makes a world of difference. There are good areas in the Vanguard. There's really not a bad seat in the place, but there are some really good seats. Good areas that sound better than other areas. The amount of people that are there change the acoustics. A lot of things can vary. So I guess what we're trying to do is get the closest to the venue sound. And I have to tell you that the craft recording, I should have pulled it out, of the Sunday at the Vanguard with the Bill Evans Trio. But I got to tell you, that's an exceptional recording for a live recording. And it's, I don't think it's close to the venue. It's like being in the venue, but it's close. I mean, it's not bad. So just when you hear people say, well, it's like being there, the real comment should be, it's as good as it sounds, closest to being there as you can get. So two great records, though. If you don't have these, I would suggest picking them up in one form or the other, depending what you want to spend. I was skeptical of the difference between the craft version and the UHQR at over 2 times the cost. But I have to tell you that, you know, even on my system, which is a good system, it's not $1 million system, you can hear the difference, especially in the bass and the definition in the strings of Scott LaFaro's bass on the UHQR. Yeah, Waltz for Debby. What a great record. Bill Evans, genius. Another great live recording, maybe my favorite second audible live recording, done not recently, but done back, I don't know, in the late 50s and 60s, were the Shelly Man at the Blackhawk series. I have the Obi on here so you can't see it, and this is a Japanese pressing of Volume 4. There are 5 volumes on Contemporary Records, and I don't know if Roy Dinan did do this back in 1956 in California, up at San Francisco, even though Contemporary is based in LA. The Japanese recording, it's a good recording. I don't think they're quite as good as a good copy of an original Contemporary, or even a Contemporary reissue that was done, you know, even 5 to 10 years later than the original came out. Contemporary records, they were really like audiophile quality records back in the day, and still are looked at as such. Hard to get really pristine copies. This is a near mint copy. It's a little brighter than the normal, which is pretty typical for Japanese pressings, but the vinyl is very quiet, and there's no ticks, no noise on this at all. So yes, it is a little brighter. The original sounds a little better, but the vinyl on this copy is really good. And getting good quality Contemporary originals or reissues soon after the originals are getting really tough to get in mint or very good plus condition. They're hard to find. Another West Coast record that was done live is by Harold Land. Just came out on Record Store Day. And, you know, there's a number of small record labels coming out these days, one of which is Reel to Reel. And this is a group of folks who are going back into some of the master tapes that they have found of some recordings that were done predominantly in Seattle at the Penthouse in the 60s. This record is a 2-disc set. It came out on Record Store Day. This is copy 137. I think they made 1,500 of these. I still see them around. You can still find them. It's a great recording, and this is on Reel to Reel Records. Zev Feldman from Impex, and you know the name Zev Feldman, really is doing some great work in terms of producing and bringing out some great music that's been around. He is involved with this as a co-producer. But the recording on this is they're like I say, there's two records, and there are three different dates. One of which is in one of which is a 62, another 64, another 65 in the penthouse, and this is with two different groups. You can see the personnel on top. Two of the three Montgomery brothers, other than Wes, and then there's another group with Hampton Hawes and Philly Joe Jones, and the one group with Philly Joe has Carmel Jones, great player, underrated player on trumpet. But these are done back in the 60s, and Harold Land, what a great player. You know, I would say he's in the underrated level because he still made his name with Clifford Brown, and man, he got, you know, Harold Land playing the Tonight Show band for a while, and just did a lot of different types of group playing. But this is a really interesting record and a really good record. And thank you for finding these tapes. I don't know where they find these things, but they found them. And one of these records sounds better than the other. The other one's good, but one of them sounds really good for a live recording and done really well. Reel-to-reel records. If you see them around, I have a feeling there'll be a record store day type of situation. Buy them. They're good. Another recent find, again staying on kind of a bizarre, smaller label, is a Hank Mobley record called Peckin' Time. This is a Blue Note release that was done back, boy, that's a good question. It doesn't say on here when it was done, but I think it was done about probably about 61 or 62. It's Blue Note 1574. And this is on a French label. They took the Blue Note type label and copied it. I'm going to turn it around so you can see it. And it's done on MCPS. It's 180 grams. It sounds good. It's a good mastering, good recording. I don't think this was done off CD. I think it was, if it was done really well. But you know, I happen to have seen this. I haven't seen a Blue Note, or I haven't seen a reissue of this. Might be one for the Tone Poet series, I don't know. But with Lee Morgan and Mobley and Kelly and Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers, Charlie Persif on drums. It's an all-star lineup. Peckin' Time, Hank Mobley. And again on MCPS Records out of France. One of the listeners to this channel is a gentleman named Michael Mueller from California. And Michael sent me two of his recordings on Deutsche Gramophone. So I listened to these a few times. And, you know, I think if you go to buy these, they'll be listed under the ambient category. Ambient music is not, you know, my cup of tea. And when I first heard the first few bars of his record here called Mirror Music, I listened to this first on Deutsche Gramophone, great cover. I said, you know, I'm not so sure I'm going to really get into this. But I let it play and got through about 2 or 3 tracks. And each track I became more interested in it. It is ambient music to a point, but it's much, much more than that. If you have a streamer, stream this. There's a lot of creativity going on here, and I'm not just saying this because Michael sent these to me. I've never met Michael, but we've corresponded different ways, and you know, he's really quite an interesting person from this recording. It's electronic, but he uses on here other musicians. He uses the keyboard player. He uses a guitar player. Uses an Oberheim synthesizer, a Rhodes organ, some percussion on some things, and some really creative stuff on here. And if you listen to it, you'll hear that there is some form and there is some real thinking that's gone into this. it's when you think ambient music, you think, well, it's relaxing, and you just close your eyes and try to nod off and take a nap. And I did just the opposite with this. It got me say, well, what's next? Because each cut is quite different. Um, give it a listen. It's not bebop jazz, it's not Peck in Time, it's not Harold Land. It is ambient music, but it's very creative ambient music. I've listened to some of that and didn't really appreciate it, but I really like this. And the recording on DG on Deutsche Gramophone is superb. This is on 33 RPM. He sent me another record called Balmoria, and this is on 45 RPM. This is, again, kind of the same as the first record, but I would say this guy here is a little bit more to my liking because there's more instrumentation going on, and I think there's a lot more creative juices went into this. This is the latest recording of Michael's. This is a couple of years earlier, maybe 3 or 4 years earlier, on 45 RPM. Both sound really superb on Deutsche Gramophone. Interesting that DG is doing some things other than the classics and classical music that we know DG from. They're branching out, and this is one way they're doing it. If you have a streamer, check it out. But it's really interesting stuff. It'll get you thinking. For my underrated player of the week, one of my favorite alto players of all time. Unfortunately, the availability of this gentleman's work compared to Phil Woods, of course Charlie Parker, but Phil Woods and Betty Carter and some of the other great alto players, Cannibal, which there are many, is a little less available. But it's Lucky Thompson. Lucky Thompson, his real name was Eli. How he got the name Lucky, I don't know. I guess it's a great story, though. But Eli Thompson, and this is called Lucky Strike. It's my favorite Lucky Thompson record. This is the OJC version going back to 82 or 83, OJC 194. It's a remake of Prestige 7365, recorded back 1964, 65, with Hank Jones, the great Hank Jones on piano, Richard Davis on bass, Connie Kay from the MJQ on drums. So it's a quartet, and a lot of a few standards and a few originals on here, but Lucky plays really, really well on here. If you listen to Miles Davis Walkin' on Prestige, Lucky Thompson plays on that record. You'll hear him play. He's also recorded with Parker, of course. He recorded with Quincy Jones, and I think he even recorded with Monk and Charlie Mingus. So he's done a lot of different things, but he kind of disappeared in the kind of the mid to late 70s, and from what I heard and read, he died living on the street in Seattle. What a shame, of Alzheimer's disease. But what a great player, and somebody I wish recorded more than he did. Check out Lucky Thompson. I think you'll agree he's an underrated guy. And finally, I'm going to end all these, like I said, with just a little bit of classical recording information. This is a jazz-oriented video, but so many of our great jazz masters listened to many of the classical composers. If you listen to Bill Evans, you'll hear Ravel in there. You'll hear Debussy in there. You'll hear a lot of impressionistic playing. And Parker had had an affinity for Stravinsky, and it goes on and on and on. But when you're building a library, and even if you have a library, and you don't have this recording, get it. It is sonically an audiophile recording. It's a recording of Mussorgsky's pictures at an exhibition, and the Firebird Suite by Stravinsky. Um, I have two versions of this. The first version I found was on Angel Records. This is a reissue. It sounds great. Both of these are on, I think, the Absolute Sound, and I think maybe on Audiophilia's Dream List. I'm not sure. And the people who make these lists of the greatest records ever made sonically, this is a sonically amazing recording and a pretty darn good interpretation of especially pictures of, at an exhibition. The Firebird on here doesn't knock me out. I think they're better ones, but the recording sounds great. The Mussorgsky is really good on here. And it's the Philadelphia Orchestra, which is quite exciting because they're known for their string sound from Ormandy, and some of the other conductors were there. But on here, they really let their brass blow on here. And if you know the part of the pictures, the Great Gate of Kiev and some other sections really feature the brass, and they really are really super on here. I did find another pressing on EMI, and this is a UK pressing, and it sounds infinitely better than the Angel pressing. And I think I probably paid an extra $10 for this, but it's nice and clean. It's, you can see the shaded dog. Well, it's not really a shaded dog, but it's a Nipper from RCA, and done extremely well. The UK pressings really tend to sound really good. EMI, for the most part, is a really good label. You know, if you want to find out more about these things, you know, Wednesday night, I'm on once in a while, but the guys at Audiophilia talk about classical music and really talk about some great recordings. And if you want to learn about that stuff, it's a good place to be. I'll put a link on this. Be on tomorrow night at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. But this version of the Mussorgsky is really good, and the recording is unbelievable. It's an unbelievable recording. One suited to be repressed on a UHQR. If you think enough people would buy it, I'm not so sure about that. But at any rate, thank you again for being there, being here. I think we took enough time, and until next time, if you have any comments, leave them, and I try to answer every one. And again, please like, subscribe, and we'll be back with another video in a week or so. So we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.